It is my pleasure to be talking to Lisa Culbertson and Deb Oates today from Madonna. And we're going to be talking about a subject that is challenging, hopeful, full of hope, necessary, and can really be one of those things that we all ought to consider. And that is, what is the connection between human health and rehabilitation, physical activity, gardening, being outside? How does that contribute to people's well-being? So Deb, let's start off with you. Talk about what you actually do at Madonna that connects people to that outdoor, that gardening world.
I'm an activity coordinator in the recreation program in our extended care programs of Madonna. And gardening is just one of the components of recreation, and it's kind of that component that gets people outside. It connects them with a past interest.
So Lisa, I know Madonna has a multitude of outdoor spaces that are possible for activities for your residents. Do you want to talk a little bit about some of the challenges maybe associated with those spaces, but what do your residents do, or how do they feel about being outdoors in those gardening spaces?
Sure. Well, I actually work on a ventilator unit, and it's on St. Jane de Chantal. It's our long-term care part of Madonna. And so a lot of our residents are not able to actively take care of plants or actually get in working with the plants, but what they really enjoy is just being in the outdoor space, looking at the plants that we're working with. We've tried to plant several ones that have different scents so we can, let them smell them after we bring them up to them. And a lot of times they just enjoy being out there in a little bit of nature with us. And it's also nice that they can see the change of seasons when we're out there, because we have spring bulbs and we have fall color. Try to make it so that they have a view out of their window, even for some of them that can't leave their room, so that they can see a change of seasons out there.
Which is really a wonderful thing to think about. So Deb, what are some of the gardening activities or the actual connections that you make with your residents, and how do you make those decisions?
Okay. Sometimes the residents help me make those decisions and make some suggestions. In the summer times we do plant tomatoes and cucumbers and green peppers, whatever they want to eat. In past years we planted green beans because people wanted those, and so we do a little vegetable gardening in raised beds. So we plant flowers, so we have large pots, raised beds that we can, so they can do the planting. The physical, get their hands dirty, because some people really want to do that. They don't want to, they need to get the feel of the earth in their hands. And then the care of them all season long, the watering, the picking of the vegetables and getting to eat them. Then later we are allowed to cut them up and serve them for them. During the winter months, we do indoor kind of things. So we forced tulip bulbs and hyacinths, and then, so we'll bring them out in February or March whenever they bloom, whenever they need them, when they need them most. We'll have little sessions on birds and bird calls, try to identify bird calls in the middle of winter as well. I'm trying to think of what else.
That's a good list.
But a variety, yeah. So it's like,
a very good list.
And we have indoor plants in the rec room. We also have the ability to help them transplant the plants in their rooms. So we have plants in their rooms. I help care for some people who need the help to care for the plants in their rooms. So yeah, it's just kind of a wide variety, actually.
So year-round, all the residents. Can you tell, Lisa or Deb, can you tell a reaction, or what do you see for how that interaction with the plants helps your residents? What do you see?
Yeah, you really can see that, because for a lot of them, just to have the opportunity to go outside and do something that they grew up doing, maybe with their parents or grandparents, and that they have the opportunity to do that again and just bring back some of those memories. Something else I think is that really nice that we do is we have some adaptations so that they can use them. For example, I know Deb uses some of the watering wands, so maybe they can't reach over there and get something watered, but they can use that wand. And we've got some automatic doors, so if they want to go outside on their own, they can do that without us having to take them out there. So we do try to adapt it to what they're able to do.
And I think those of us who are able to do most everything tend to forget that there are an awful lot of people who can't. So that's maybe a little bit of a wake-up call, especially for people who have maybe a family member who needs that sort of assistance, even if it's a temporary kind of an assistance. Do you see particular challenges that are really tough to overcome, or sort of excellent light at the end of any tunnel with the landscape or the gardening part of what you do? Does anything come to mind on that?
One of them I can think of is we have some that want to do too much, and we have to watch them because they are out in the sun too long or out in the cold too long, and Deb has to really keep an eye on that because they want to be out there, and they don't tell till later that they've been out there too long.
Yeah, so almost get, so they get fatigued or whatever, and or blisters, and so I've bought gloves for people who are
Right, lots of salves.
Yes,
Right.
so to watch it, so that was one thing. What else did I think of? I mean, just people being out in the sunshine affects people's moods, so just getting that fresh air and sunshine, I mean, and we're very lucky that we have several gardens and off of every unit basically, so residents, when they're able to, when the weather's right, can usually get outside and get some fresh air. If they can go out independently, great. And some of our staff will actually go out with those people who aren't safe to be out there alone and maybe need some assistance. Back when families could come, they could go out there with them. So just a variety of things. But people need to be needed sometimes, so that volunteer work sometimes is available.
That's excellent. And again, we all need community, however we define that community.
Right.
So I think one last question for you would be, here we are in January, which means the growing season is upon us. Do you have anything in mind that is exciting or a little different for the coming season, and are you ready for that? Or have those catalogs not hit your inbox yet?
No, catalogs hit my inbox. And we just kind of go with the flow, and depending on who's our current patients, kind of what their interests are, so we kind of just adapt and change depending on what they want to do sometimes.
And we've been fortunate to have some nice days where they can get outside and at least think about spring coming.
Exactly. Again, that light as the days get longer and the sun occasionally peeks through. So thanks so much for what you do working with people who absolutely need it and appreciate it. And thanks for coming in.